Okay, we're here this time with Spellsword Cards Dungeontop.
Oh my god, this is the darkest dungeon I've ever seen.
Maybe the art style's similar, but I wouldn't
Go
call
back
it
to the night guy. Yeah,
This is the
it's
darkest,
similar.
the darkest fire I've ever seen.
I mean, these character portraits, and that's it, though. That's
no,
the
the text and the menu options. Basically, it's very darkest dungeon. Like, it's incredibly darkest dungeon.
It is the same font, but I don't think that the
gameplay might be different. Yeah.
The gameplay's completely different, but even the art, like, other than like the couple of portraits, not. I wouldn't
Those
even...
look like exactly like the background. Like, little squares look like the backgrounds in Darkest Dungeon.
Maybe a little.
Yeah, the art style is pretty similar.
But anyway, I don't think that's that weird.
Yeah,
anyway.
the gameplay is significantly different. I actually
yeah. This is the yeah.
So this game is a deck builder game. It's kind of it's sort of hard to explain. It almost has an element of like Go to it, where
I'm seeing that.
you have to sort of place your tiles, and you get random cards from your deck, and they're all different like monsters, and they have different attacks and stuff. Some of them are ranged, some of them are melee, some of them have effects. This is the first time I'm using this deck, so I don't completely understand it. It's sort of like a sacrifice deck. I didn't realize that guy had to be adjacent to the thing I was going to attack, but yeah, I figured that out. Oh, I already attacked him.
One of the things that I noticed that makes this game very hard is that your character, like your one guy that you start with, the warrior man in the middle there, he will start with usually less health than every single enemy that you fight, and damage sticks on him permanently.
Yeah.
So
this game, of all of the deck builders I've played, this is easily the hardest. It's pretty difficult. Spoiler for this run, I actually lose this run. Like, I don't actually even win this one. But you know, it has its ups and downs.
yeah.
So when you beat a match, you get to randomly choose up to two for free, and then you can do up to 3 like from a resource that you get, the little orange crystal up there. And then you can decide which ones you want to put in your deck after you choose them.
Yeah, so you like flip them, and then you get to see if you want to keep them or not. Because if you've played deck builders,
a lot of times
you don't necessarily want a big deck.
A lot of times, what cards you don't take is more important than the cards you do take.
Yeah.
I'm sort of running through this because I've done some of the stuff, like that Smith Anvil thing over there. The first time you get to upgrade a card for free, and then later on when you get treasure, you can like upgrade other cards.
Yeah.
I upgraded my little wolf guy because he's sort of the centerpiece of this deck.
Yeah. A treasure being an actual type of card, so in order to get an extra upgrade, you have to sacrifice a treasure type card.
Sometimes, but other times it could be a weapon as well. It could be a monster. It could be a spell. Like, it's kind of all over the place.
Oh, but
dudes like start asleep. Like, what's the deal with that?
Oh, it's like summoning sickness in like a trading card game.
Oh, okay.
So you can't use it the same turn that you put it out.
Yeah.
This wolf guy is cool though, because if he has more power than the enemy, he gets to attack twice.
Ooh.
So I just put a bunch of buffs on him, and now he has 6 damage.
Yeah, that seems pretty darn good. Do you get bonus points for killing the stuff that is on the field, or
no?
Oh, okay.
If you defeat the like boss monster, or like the main character monster, then all the other ones just disappear. A lot of times I do it anyway, but
fair enough. No, see, this looks interesting. I didn't play with this deck. I only played with the like basic bitch warrior deck.
Yeah, I played through a few matches with the normal warrior deck too, but this sacrifice deck seemed a lot more fun to me.
Yeah. So does the deck that you start with determine the types of cards that you can get, like in Slay the Spire, or do you just get from a pool of all of the cards?
A little of both. So there's 2 characters, and each character has their own sets of things that they have. And then there's also 2 decks, and each of those decks have different things that they have. And then there's like 4 sub-decks per deck as well.
Oh.
So
Interesting.
I'm using a specific one that focuses on these guys that have Predator, which is that double attack thing.
Okay.
There's also there's a different version of this deck that focuses on sacrificing characters to make your characters better.
I see.
But yeah, I wanted to play with the Predator deck because I was already sort of building, like that other version of the deck with more sacrifices in it had that wolf in it, and so when I realized that this deck was just sort of a better version of that kind of Predator concept, I was like, okay, I'll go for this then.
Right.
This enemy is such a pain in the ass because the boss itself is a ranged character.
Yeah, so it can run away and then attack you.
Yeah, I don't think I do too bad in this one, but it's
because of that wolf that you got at the beginning.
Yeah, the wolf just completely massacred it. But like any deck builder, you know, you can run into situations where you just don't get the cards that you need. Maybe it's your fault because you put too much trash in it. Maybe it's not, just because you get a bad draw. You do get to mulligan before every match, but I don't know, it can be difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just get 2 bad draws,
Yeah.
so...
And here I'm like, I don't really need this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'll keep that. And then it just gave me a second one. Those guys have Devour on them, so if they defeat an enemy, they get to basically absorb their power. My only issue with them is the enemies seem to really not like them. I've never been able to actually keep one of those alive because for some reason it just seems like the enemies really go after enemies with Devour, or creatures with Devour on them. I don't know if that's intentional or just luck, but the way that you summon characters is you can summon characters adjacent to another friendly character on your field. So a lot of times you might want to move your character and then summon a character somewhere else and that sort of thing.
There are some cards that don't get that summoning sickness. One of my favorite things to do was to like summon a guy that didn't have the summon on the first turn. Summon a guy that didn't have summoning sickness, make him move, and then summon another guy and make him move and attack the boss for like a cheeky slap at the very first turn.
Yeah, like a rush haste deck. This game also has something it calls bounties. So in this game, when you complete a run, you'll get a certain amount of gold and stuff. And that's sort of how you unlock cards in the future. And that other character, the mage-looking character, costs like 300 gold to unlock.
Right.
You get gold by doing runs, but also they're like bounties, which are essentially achievements. And when you get those achievements, they give you like chunks of gold. And see there, I didn't mess with the trash mobs or whatever, and I just went after the boss and was able to get it directly.
So I'm seeing here that you're pretty much only going for minions. Is that because of the sacrifice deck you're running, or do you just want more minions?
So, I've done it a number of different ways. Early on, I've kind of come to the conclusion that at least my strategy so far has been, I kind of want to get minions early on.
Mm-hmm.
When you level up, you also get a talent tree thing that you can do.
Yeah, and those aren't cards, those are like passive bonuses to your hero.
Right, the first one I took was heal 2 health at the end of every fight, which is a really good one.
So, you just went through that portal to like level 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
And it gave you the option to take the normal path or the dark path.
Yeah.
Invariably, the 2 or 3 runs that I did ended every time because I took the dark path
I see.
Well,
which is just a path that's twice as hard.
well, one time I took the dark path and had no problem with it, and several times I've taken the light path and died. So I don't
see.
know.
I seem to remember the play area being bigger than this in some fights. Is there a reason for that you?
I can't figure out what the reason for it is, but yeah, some enemies just have larger play spaces, and I don't really know why.
Is it like maybe an elite enemies have bigger play spaces? Or?
No, that's not it. Often they do, but that's not. I've just run into normal enemies with bigger play spaces. I don't know why.
It just depends on the enemy's design, I guess.
Yeah, and there's also enemies that take up 4 tiles at once.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Those guys have to be a pain in the ass.
yeah, those are more frustrating, especially since a lot of characters have like knockback abilities and stuff like that doesn't work on those guys.
Oh yeah.
And one of the ways you can not outright win, but put yourself in a really strong position is you can completely surround the boss. And if you're surrounded, you can't summon because you need an empty space adjacent to something in order to summon.
Yeah.
So you can
and
run.
The boss, of course.
What?
Sorry, the boss, of course, can counteract that by just killing one of your dudes, but it forces him to.
I mean, you can also do that. The thing is, I've definitely died by being surrounded by enemies before. So
yeah.
So yeah, I don't like. A good strategy is to completely surround a boss and then hope that they can't immediately kill the dudes. Also, some of them are ranged, and if you can surround them, they might not be able to attack adjacent enemies. So there's just sort of a lot of different things that can kind of happen based on like what cards you get, what abilities they have, and synergies between them. This deck is obviously centered around kind of beefing up those wolf characters.
Mm-hmm.
See, I just sacrificed him to make him stronger. Now he's a 4/5.
What are those little goblin skeleton Yoko Taro looking motherfuckers? What are they?
They're called willing sacrifice, and you sacrifice that guy in order to put a 1/1 onto another character. So what I've been doing is I've just been pumping up the wolf over and over again.
Yeah, so they literally all they do is just sacrifice themselves to power up somebody else?
Yeah, but there's other cards that get stronger when enemies are sacrificed. Like, you see that guy with the hood that I just did? He gets stronger every time an enemy is sacrificed. Or a character is sacrificed. There's a different character that, like, when he kills an enemy, it counts as a sacrifice. There's all sorts of stuff. That, like, all sorts of different things, and this is just, like, one version of this deck. There's obviously another version of this deck that is much more focused on sacrificing based on your starting cards or whatever.
Right.
And I've noticed that, like, within a deck you have the same cards that you can end up getting, but I haven't seen any of the cards from the other deck, the one you start with in the tutorial. So if you take this deck, you don't get the option to even get any of those other ones. So that's kind of interesting.
Now you said there were like 4 sub decks of each. There were like 2 characters, 2 decks for each character, and 4 decks or 4 sub decks.
4 sub decks per deck, yeah.
Are those like sub decks just like the starting cards, and then the pool is the whole deck?
Yeah,
or...
yeah. That seems to be how it works. Is that your sub deck is what you get to start with, and then that's usually based on a specific theme within the overall deck. Like this one was based on Predator, so I get a bunch of Predator stuff. So here I decided to go back to the Smith, and because I got a treasure from that fight.
Treasure.
So here I'm basically giving up that card in order to make a different card in my deck more powerful. Because
those wolves are just great.
Yeah, because I'm focusing basically my entire strategy on these wolves, I just continue to upgrade the wolf. Because one of its things is in order to be able to attack, in order to get its passive where it gets to attack twice, it needs to have higher power than the thing it's attacking. So if you upgrade it, then it's more likely to have more power than an enemy.
Right. Without even having to run the sacrifices first.
Well, that guy doesn't level. No, the wolves don't level up from sacrifices. That was a different character.
Well, but yeah, you've been using.
Yeah. Without the willing. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Without using willing sacrifices, right? Not that I still do it, but but they start out stronger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So another thing similar into Slay the Spire, where they tell you what they're gonna do on this turn. This game's even more generous in that it tells you what cards they'll have in the next 2 turns. Like, you can see above what cards they'll have.
Yeah. And they pretty much play all of those cards every turn, right?
Yeah, because there's no resource. Well, there is resources, but most of them don't cost resources.
Right.
So you see that little 3 out of 3 on the left side there?
Yeah.
That is how much mana I have, and some cards cost mana.
Like to summon, and does like attacking? No, apparently not, because you just attack that mana.
Yeah,
and
and
take
attacking
mana.
doesn't do
No,
anything.
everything only costs 1 mana. Some things cost mana to play, but they don't cost mana to attack.
Oh, okay.
And then some spells also cost mana
Okay.
to play. Also, your total mana is also your draw. So later on, I get 4 mana, and I start drawing 4 cards. So I think that's tied to it as well.
Yeah. So when you play a card that has mana cost, you draw less cards next turn.
Oh, is that how it works? Okay, that sounds right. Yeah.
I remember that from the tutorial. But you can also discard a card to get more mana.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so say you play a card with mana, but you still want to draw 3, and you don't want to play your other card, you can just discard that one.
Right. So there's a lot of like strategy in there that you can get in there. And see, they kind of like, I mean, I already have some enemies or characters on the field, so it doesn't affect me that much. But I am sort of surrounded here, which kind of puts me in a bad position because I can't really protect my characters as well.
Mm-hmm. But this will be the first time I think I've even seen that character take damage.
Yeah, I tend to be pretty defensive of him. Plus, I have that thing that heals me at the end of matches, so I've been doing that as well.
That is nice.
That green cross thing I got from an event. And the way that works is I can either heal for 2, but it exhausts that card, or if the card is still in my deck and I die, it heals me for 8.
Oh, that's nice.
So I might want to not play it because I could run into a situation where it saves my life.
Right. But of course, if you leave it in your deck, that's a wasted draw every so often.
Right. And also, if you're in the situation where your character has died, there's a good chance that there wasn't going to be much you could do about it anyway. So,
right.
I've had moments where it was like, okay, I have 8 more health, but I can't do anything with it.
Yeah. It's not like you just get fucked up by 1 draw. It's likely that because of the stacking damage, you've screwed up before.
Right. And that's not super uncommon. See, this one has a larger play space, and I'm not entirely sure why.
Yeah, it's
large man
it's
needs
like
a
that
large
type
play
of
space.
character. Yeah, he's a big orc, so he needs a big fight.
I remember this fight, and I really fuck up in this one.
It seems like it would be easier to not get surrounded in a play space that's this big.
Yeah, but they also put me in the corner in the beginning.
Yeah, that's true.
And starting positioning actually can make a huge difference, so...
Right.
This guy is interesting because when he dies, he's replaced by a copy of himself.
Who, the little,
Yeah, that's that...
little helmet guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So he basically just doesn't die the first time.
Pretty much. That guy had retaliate, though, so, he did just die, but...
Ah, yes, that is bad. There shouldn't be a freaking... I guess there should. I was gonna say there shouldn't be... Oh, there you are. You are surrounded, my friend.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
see, I'm already in a position. And that enemy has Devour, so if he attacks my dudes, then that dog will get stronger.
Oh.
So I'm trying to
That
figure out what I
sucks.
want to do. I'm thinking.
You giving it the big think.
It's funny when you watch something like this after the fact, because you are like seeing how you did it differently. And I realized, oh shit, I could have used this power cleave attack and I didn't. And if I had put it on the wolf, I would have won.
Mm-hmm, you would have won just then. Ah.
But I screw up again because there was a different way I could have also done a little bit of damage. And I forgot again, and then I was just like, because I didn't attack with him, so if I put it 2 on him, I would have also just won.
That's twice that you could have won with that one card, and you didn't even play it.
Yeah, I know, I fucked up.
Wow.
And I realized
And
after
that-
the fact, I was like, man, that was really dumb
And that
of me.
got you, what, like 5 extra damage, which is like most of your health?
Yeah. So I screwed that one up. I don't remember if it matters, though. I might end up just healing enough later.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing. Cards have different, like, rarities on top of it. So you saw how there was, like, 2 stars under one of those guys?
Uh-huh.
You can, like I've been upgrading the wolves, you can, like, all characters have little upgrade levels.
Okay.
That determines how strong they are. And then I fight the same freaking guy.
Jesus.
But in a
Except this
smaller
one's
place.
Smaller. Oh, but you did get another point of mana. When
Yeah.
did that happen?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Because it didn't seem like it was there.
Oh, you know what? I leveled up and got in
Oh.
the skill tree I got another mana. That's what it was.
I see. Yeah, block off the whole side. That way he can't get to you. I
Yeah,
guess
right.
he got to you.
Yeah, kinda. He kinda got to me. Here's like, yeah, there's that cleave again. Maybe I'll actually use it this time.
Yeah, really. Okay. So this game is kind of reminding me of a game that I played like a really long time ago. It was like a PlayStation 2 game. It was a Yu-Gi-Oh game. And
That doesn't actually narrow it down, because there's several Yu-Gi-Oh games on the
Yeah.
PlayStation.
like this, where like you have like a board and it like you...
Oh, you know what? You're thinking of Dungeon Dice Monsters, I think.
No, it was specifically not Dungeon Dice Monsters. It was before they had conceptualized that fully. I think it was called War of the Roses or something. Duel of the Roses? I'm not... God, I can't remember what it was, but it was like this, except instead of a small play area and being more like Go, it had like a designed board with like map hazards and stuff, except other than the movement of your creatures around the board, the rules were identical to the regular Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. It
Huh.
was very strange. Like, if you wanted Exodia, you had to both play his pieces and move him into a position so that it built a person out of it.
Okay,
It
well,
was-
I don't remember
it was
that
weird.
game. And this is a different one. So...
Yeah, well,
I'm getting more of those wolves. I'm stuffing my whole deck full of wolves.
just kill them all with a bunch of wolves.
Some of the rooms have random events in them.
You see, you're back at full health. What?
Yeah, I fought that
You're
same
fine.
enemy and just completely wrecked him that time, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
I feel like it was the big. I feel like it was the big arena. He had an advantage because he could spam out more units than you, maybe. I don't know.
This one was like a treasure room, and I was just like, I'm just gonna take all of this.
Might as well.
And 2 of them are treasures, so I'm gonna go upgrade my stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, see, I imagine that anytime you find a treasure card, there's no reason not to take it, because if you want your deck to be... Like,
Yeah,
if you
'cause-
don't want that card in your deck, you can just take it back to a blacksmith and upgrade.
Yeah, there's usually a fairly easy way to like actually get rid of a treasure card.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that weapon was a treasure too, so I was like, oh cool. I can
Nice.
use that. I didn't realize. I thought it was a card at first, but it's actually a weapon. It's a weapon that's a shield, and you can only have one weapon at a time.
Does the weapon, like, get equipped to your character and just stays there, or?
Yeah, you have to, like, go into the weapon thing, and you can only have one weapon equipped at a time. And the different weapons do different things. So, like, right now I'm using a polearm that basically it can attack. It's like a ranged attack, basically. And it also has penetrate, so it hits everything that, like, on the other side of attacks, too.
Oh, nice.
There's another one that I had earlier that was dual daggers, and that one let me attack twice. And had a power of 2, so I did 3 damage.
Okay.
See, it shows me having a little bow. I'm like, oh, can I get this again? And I was like, oh no, it's that one card I didn't take. Okay, never mind.
Well, that's nice that the card just kind of sticks there. Blood for goods. Oh, yes.
Yeah, I traded 2 health to upgrade a guy. I was like, okay, cool.
Oh.
And then I realized I hit a shop, which I could have used that treasure for. Instead, I upgraded a bunch of stuff, but...
Yeah, you could just buy fucking swords from Dark Robin Hood.
The first one,
Pretty much.
Dark Robin Hood. Yeah. Darkest Robin Hood, though.
Darkest Robin Hood.
You're not wrong. So here's the final boss.
Oh no.
A kobold bow trap.
And for some
I see.
reason...
Sure, huh?
Yeah, for some reason, the way that this match worked is they already had a bunch of dudes summoned. And there's walls that have damage on them.
Lame.
Yeah, but I think this is the final boss, if I'm not mistaken. Either that or I just died to a random trap event, which would also suck, but I don't know.
Well, there was a whole nother door in the dungeon, though.
Yeah, but that one was the dark path. Yeah.
The darkest path.
The darkest path.
Then when you go down through that door, you enter the darkest dungeon as opposed to the regular dungeon.
Yeah, right.
Wow, you have to get through a lot of shit, but I guess at the same time he can't summon anything and he can't. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
In this game's art style's defense, they're definitely taking a different way with kobolds than most people do.
Yeah, they're little fat chubby monsters instead of...
They're like...
Yeah.
They look like gremlins from their gremlins. Not not like the generic form of gremlin, but like the specific form of gremlin from the movie.
Like a Barra version of the specific version of the gremlins from the movie.
A little fatter is all.
Yeah.
So I screwed up right there. I decided to heal myself with that ability.
Instead of keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here I screw up again because this is a consume item, so once you use that, it's completely removed from your deck entirely. And that guy just dies. So that was useless.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I guess he's not can't summon guys.
Yeah, I guess he gets to summon on the other side of that wall, so that's cool.
Wonderful.
So I put a block on him, which will stop damage for, like, 1 attack, no matter how much damage it does. But there's so many dudes around him that I think he ends up dying anyway. Yeah, so I don't know. This game is, like...
Yeah,
it's really difficult.
Encounter seems particularly hard.
Well, not even just this encounter. Like, I mean, this game in general is pretty difficult because you have to be thinking on, like, way more levels than you have to do in most deck builders. So it takes a lot of strategy and planning, and you have to really be paying attention because you can do what I did earlier and just completely, for 2 turns, mess yourself up and take a bunch of damage. So
I mean, you can do that in any deck builder. It just seems like this one is like
it's brutal in a way that other ones aren't.
Most deck builders are just about the cards. This is, I almost feel like it's less about the cards and more about the
positioning,
the strategy of it.
Yeah.
Well, it is, but it is about the cards because, like, what pieces you even have available to you, like, you can screw yourself over by taking too many, like, bad cards. So
yeah, that's true.
So it's like it's like taking a game like Slay the Spire and putting another dimension to it that just makes it makes you have to think about a lot more than you have to in most deck builders, which will either be appealing or turn you off to it. So I don't know. This game didn't hook me as much as other deck builders. I don't know if it's like the pace of it or like the meta strategy layer where you're like going between different rooms and deciding what you want to fight and what you want to run away from and stuff. Because you don't have to fight everything. You can sneak past stuff too if you don't want
Really?
to fight
Sneak past? I thought that sneak option was just to like walk to so that you didn't have to fight it right then and there. I thought that like you walked away.
Oh, I don't
But
know,
at the
maybe.
same time, I never.
Yeah, I've never actually done it, so. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot going on in that game. And it's like I said, it's really difficult. They have the meta progression stuff, but like I barely make gold a lot of the time from those matches. I think I made like 10 gold in that last one. So even if I wanted that like mage character, I would have to get 300 gold. And maybe it's better if you win, but the game is hard enough that it like I admittedly I haven't played a ton of it, but I had not ever won. So
Yeah.
uh
I'm sure there's a learning curve to it. Like you
Yeah.
would probably get better without even like realizing that you're getting better. It seems like that type of game.
yeah, oh, for sure. And deck builders and a lot of deck builders are like that, where you have to sort of figure out what the game wants you to be thinking in the first place. So I've played other deck builders that were more about drawing cards and cycling through them that way because there was no resource system the same way. So like each one you have to kind of learn how to play that deck builder, and this one is like there's so much going on in it that it has a pretty high learning curve, but that can probably be, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. It'll turn some people off, but it'll keep a lot like other people way more invested than maybe something as straightforward as maybe Slay the Spire or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's a pretty neat game.
Yeah. It's a fun concept.
Yeah. It is in early access. It sort of came out recently. I think it's version like 1.2 or something. So they're still working on it. But Oh, and we should mention that this game was given to us to check out. So yeah. I probably should have mentioned that way earlier, but I forgot.
Yeah,
So,
that's like more of a beginning of video thing, but that's
Yeah.
okay.
But anyway, that's Spellsword Cards Dungeontop. Another that's also kind of a bad name, but whatever.
Yeah.
That's gonna do it for this video. Thanks for checking it out. Leave us a comment, give us a like, subscribe. We have a link to our Discord in the description. We'll have a link to this game too, so you can buy it if you like. And yeah, we also have a Patreon, so if you want to support us, you can do that too. Thanks for checking it out. We'll see you guys next time, and remember, as always,
stay beautiful.